Hey guys, welcome to the Sunday night webinar. I hope you guys are well and having a good Sunday. We do these every Sunday at usually around this time, a little bit earlier. We used to start at 6, but now we do it at 4:30, 4 just to make it a little bit of earlier for my Garth and myself. So this is a good time. Would you agree? I think it's a good time.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like having a bit earlier, so it's
Yeah.
great. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, because it's here in Thailand, it's 4:30, 4:34, so it's it'd
Yeah,
be
it's
7.
7:30 here.
Yeah. So, by the time we sort of have a bit of a um, mingle and a bit of a rant sometimes. You're going to bed at sort of 10:30, and that's kind of a little bit late. Although I don't get to bed till I don't get to honestly, dude, I don't get to bed till 12:30, some 1 o'clock, because I'm always, thinking about ideas and doing stuff, as you do.
Yep.
So I find it fun. But yeah, so you guys that want to join the Discord, I'll put the link below. If you're interested, check it out. Anyway, so we do these every Sunday, and we're going to chime in, talk about crypto, talk about a little bit of bits and pieces. So, what about your week, Garth? How's it been out there? It looks like you're cold or something. You got a jacket on?
Yeah, no, it was hot, right? And then we had this. It just literally in one day it went like I don't know, dropped 15, 20 degrees. We had like a 35, 37 degrees day. It was really hot, and then the next day it was like I don't know, 19 or something like that. So it's been really cold. I don't know. I really thought we'd hit summer. It was coming on, but it's still cold at the moment. So that was interesting. So yeah, I mean, they had be prepared for bushfires this summer. That's the whole thing going on now. Yeah, what else? Yeah, that's probably about it. So it's been pretty busy. Just working on what have I been working on this week? Just still working on e-commerce stuff, building out my store, and yeah, oh yeah, and just we're packing up at the moment. So planning on moving shortly. So we're just doing all the moving stuff and packing stuff. So that's like a like a nightmare, but we'll get through there at the end of it. What about yourself?
Yeah. Oh, mate, I remember in Australia when I used to in a stretch of probably about kind of like going through that transition where I was kind of like with girlfriend, then girlfriendless, did the whole single thing, which
Yep.
stayed single, which is probably the best part of it. Didn't have any issues. In that period of probably about 10 years, there was a gap there for about 10 years where I was working, and then this is way before I met you. I was in my 20s. So in my 20s, so early 20s to, so like 21, 22 to like 28, it was a wow. I moved about 10 or 15 times. And I remember the first time I moved out when I was with this bird, she had a couple of kids, you go through it and that's fine. We had a good relationship. But I ended up moving out, and I took 2 truckloads of because I used to work at a truck mob at the time. I took 2 truckloads of stuff. I had so much shit. In the end, I just said to her, "Look, you can keep all the shit." I gave her TV, sofas, everything. So
Yep.
it wasn't like we're living on bad terms or anything. She got heaps of shit that she needed for the
Yep.
kids and stuff, and I just and up from that point, I still remember. I'm like, I am never going to travel. I'm never going to accumulate so much shit
Yep.
until I buy a house, because
Mm.
I was moving so many times that
Yep.
by the time I got to the end of like my second or third last move, I got it down to basically mattress.
Yep.
I got to order a ute from hire a ute. I'll put the
Yep.
mattress, then I put all the shit on top, and I had
Yep.
minimal stuff, bags, clothes. That's it. I could wrap it up in a ute, couple of ropes over the top. That was it, and I could just move, and I could literally
Wow.
do that within an hour. That's how
Wow.
efficient I was when I was
That's pretty
moving.
good.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you learn
Well,
from
once
this
you get
stuff
a
as a
house, it's
single.
hard. You just
Oh
fill it up with furniture. But this time we're basically going to put everything into a 20-foot container for
yeah,
storage. So yeah, whatever fits in that is what's going, and what's not is not. So yeah.
yeah, I know the old storage. The storage sheds are pretty good actually. You got to keep a lid on the expenses, but that's when I first had one of my first businesses. I operated out of storage, so that's why I recommend anyone doing some sort of business where you need more space. Just start off at storage sheds. I really, that experience was really good for me because I was doing at the time I was bringing in containers. Well, I wasn't bringing in massive containers. I was bringing like 20-foot containers, and they contain like these little bikes, these little petrol. They're called pocket bikes. Probably remember them.
I do. I bought
So
one.
I couldn't keep it at at a house because I was with mates and I was renting. I was single at the time with two other mates. So I'd leave it in the storage sheds, and they could drop the container, and then as I kept on selling this stuff because I was selling it all on eBay and through the papers, as I was turning it over, I'd double my money every time, and then I could expand. So then every time I was at one point, I had all the biggest units. I had like 3 of the biggest units. They cost like $1,000 each. I had 3 of them, and I said, "Mate, I'm running out of room. I need more." He says, "We don't have any more. You've got all our biggest units. You're our biggest customer." I'm like, "Fuck." So then, obviously, you had to go to your bigger warehouse, and that's when, you really got to make sure that when you're in a business that your costs don't balloon, because that's another valuable lesson I learned. That it's all good when you're making a lot of money, but as you know too, Garth, like there's trends in the market, and there's seasonal stuff, especially if your stuff's seasonal. And the Christmas, you're gonna need a shitload of space, but then during the rest of the year, when people don't need like birthday presents or stuff like that, your business is not going to do those numbers, but you still got to pay the rent. You still got to pay staff, and it's learning that lesson. I probably would have tried to stay in storage sheds as long as I could, because then every time that I was low on the season, I could just de-rent one, so I wouldn't have to pay.
It's pretty hard to do that with a lease. If you got 100, 200, 300, 400 squares.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. So, look, all this stuff you learn, guys. And like I said, we do talk about crypto and stuff, but there's a lot of takeaways that I've learned over the years that, mistakes I've made through businesses and starting. I've started many businesses, and a lot of them have failed. So, you live and learn. You learn the experiences. Anyway, just a couple of things I want to touch on just very quickly. I mean, obviously, Bitcoin hasn't moved. All right, so it's really boring, to be honest. It's not much really to go on about. Like 26, which is all right. I mean, it was below 26 before, so it's gone up and down. Obviously, people selling. It's every time it's gone up, it's people have sold. So I don't know what's going on there. But as you can see, it hasn't really done much at all. It's since we had that 30K, and then we went down to like 25K. That was like a big dip there, and then we're sort of at 26. So it's pretty boring. I would just do what we normally do and just treat it as a transition time to be to be accumulating if you can, and whatever extra funds. As we always say that every week, because it's a long-term game with Bitcoin. There was a couple of other things I wanted to mention. This one's, look, I'll mention it because a mate of mine sent a link to it, and I think it's just pathetic. But anyway, so he showed me this video. Ben Armstrong, so BitBoy, he's now not using his channel or some legal battle. So he's in a legal battle, obviously, which is great for him, great for us, because then he can lose money. And it's like karma for him. But he's got this new channel now. It's called Ben Armstrong. It's got like 30 last time I looked at 40,000 subscribers. So what he's doing, he's done a video and he's like asking people for donation to his legal fund to, just fight his case. Now this guy here, apparently, I haven't watched this video in total, but apparently they show someone scan this address, and there's like millions of dollars in it. And he's going, guys, if you want to donate to my legal fund, and he's crying poor. I don't know if you can hear it. Probably won't be able to hear it.
No.
Oh, here we go.
Can't hear it, but we can see it.
There you go. There's 161 million XRP in his wallet.
Wow.
And he's asking people for money. So let's go to XRP. What? Are you serious? No, that can't be. 161 million. That's 50 cents. You can figure it out. 82 million in there. What? That can't be
Wow.
right. Yeah, it's 50 cents. So he's got 82 million in there. So this is what really shits me. That's his balance. This is why this guy's made this video. So he's making it. So he's basically telling people, "Oh, you donate to my fund." Is he that stupid or what? I think this guy is pretty stupid. I don't know. What do you think? Is this guy dumb or what?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't been following because nearly the stuff that comes out of his mouth is just questionable. He's probably going to be. He'll probably go to jail. Honestly, somewhere along the line. It just fascinates me. These people who are just, I don't know, extraordinary. I'll say, in whatever they do, they're so public and then they just go off the rails and they just do crazy things. So yeah, I think people should just move on. But it's just crazy that he's still scamming people money.
Yeah. I reckon he's lost. There's something wrong in his brain because everyone knows, and he knows that all the wallets are public. So, this guy's obviously a few screws loose, and the more money he makes, the more he goes off the rails because that's just how it works. But yeah. I mean, that sort of money hires good lawyers. So obviously, we'd like him to go to jail, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so let's stop talking about this clown. Okay. So I know I've mentioned this many times before in the past. This was a project that I got into last year, and look, it's been good. I think this has been a great project personally, and it's the Canafox one. They rebranded to Pink Panther. So the latest thing with them now is the Thailand's going through this reform with cannabis, and they're trying to make it criminalized. So it's decriminalized at the moment. They're trying to recriminalize it, put it back onto the narcotic list as a dangerous drug, and only have it as for medical use, right? Which is fine, and that's so basically it'll just mean that like they have it in the US, you need some sort of medical thing before you can buy it, and that will stamp out a lot of the criminalization, but it won't mean that tourists on Koh San Road, because Thailand gets like 45 million tourists a year. They've gone to Koh San Road, which is, if you don't know what Koh San Road is, it's the biggest party street. Everyone goes there, and there's food and drinks and people party. And there's tons of weed shops. There's literally like 6,000 weed shops now in Thailand. So they go there, they get their drugs, and they can smoke weed, obviously not in public, but they do anyway. And now they're going to need some sort of medical certificate. So it's not going to happen. But anyway, so they're talking about this. What's happened is all this weed's coming in from the United States, and it's coming over from the border. And it's perfectly illegal, right? And what it's doing is it's crippling the local market, and now it's just the supply and demand. There's so much cheap weed out there that they're growing all this weed, but they've committed to making all these containers from the funds they use from the NFT raise. And these guys are legit, right? They're not a scam or anything. But now people are saying, "Oh, it's a scam and everything." It's not a scam. It's just supply and demand. So see, they built 35 of these grow room or containers, so you can see their grow rooms here and everything. So it's all legit. It's all happening. It's just that price of cannabis is gone to rock bottom, and the market's just sorting itself out down to 50 grams. They're saying that they can sell it for 50 grams for a gram, 50 baht a gram, whereas before they were selling for 200 baht a gram. So it's basically gone down like 75% dropped.
Wow.
But so this thing was like for a 2-year contract. So you buy the NFT. The NFT was like $300 at the time. Then you get this. It was like a 2-year contract, and they were saying that you want to get 4 harvests a year, which they've only delivered 1, and so far, and that means you get 8 harvests by the time the contract expires. So now, obviously, that's not going to happen because of the logistics and everything, the growing pains and stuff. So now they've said basically, look, we're going to give you 8 harvests. We're not going to sell it for 50 baht, although we could, because you're not going to get much of a return. And then we're just going to what do you call it? Give you like a monthly returns. So the monthly income will be smaller, like a passive income will be smaller, but just to keep people happy, I think it'll people will get like a monthly return, in their wallets. So that's So it's just a classic example of a good project, but because of the market conditions with this sort of supply and demand, that's just what happens. The dispensaries, like, they're still selling the weed for probably the same price or cheaper, but as they're sourcing it, now they can source it from much cheaper. So they're just buying all this cheap weed for 50 baht a gram, and selling it for, they're still selling for 400 to 500 to 600 baht a gram, So you can't really blame them, because they just want to make money, and the market is starting to sort of saturate a little bit. So anyway, they're still going to give us 8 payouts. We've only got 1 so far, but I've already got 60% of my funds back, so I'm not really worried. And a lot of people are kind of upset because of the returns, and now they're calling it a scam. I would say they shouldn't have kind of projected the numbers as they should have. Saying that there'll be like four crops a year when they've only produced 1, and then that projection was basically, hey, we're going to sell 200 baht a gram for the next 2 years. It's not going to happen. So that's where they fucked up. But yeah, it is what it is. And I think still, considering it's an NFT project, it's still one of the better ones out there. I mean, which NFT projects have you seen that are still going or are kind of like transparent? There's literally none of them out there. This is probably only the one of very few that has. So that's Counterfox. Just want to give you an update on that. I'm not worried. I already got most of my money back on it. There was a couple of things I can't remember, but
that's all right. While you're thinking about that, I've got something to share here. So let me share my screen. All right, can you see this one?
Yep.
So this one's like some news in Australia, and it talks about regional bank closures, disastrous for small towns, and there's actually a federal inquiry about it. So this happened 3 days ago. This was posted, and basically this federal inquiry went into what's going on. And basically what's happening is the big banks have been closing branches all over Australia. In fact, 1,200 bank branches have shut down in the last 6 years as they transition to online banking. So you can imagine what's going on here is if the bank's not available, that means one, you can't go and deposit money if you get cash. So you're in a cash business. Sure, they've actually taken a lot of money out of the actual market, right? They've taken it out of circulation, so there's less cash. But if you did have cash and you needed to bank it, you'd have to drive hundreds of kilometers to make deposits of the cash, which is just impractical. This is actually what's happening. And basically, all the services that you would normally need to go to the bank for, because they've closed down 1,200 branches, all these banks, it means that if you live outside the major cities, you don't really have any banking. You just lose access to banking services, and that's the biggest thing that they're talking about. So, and this is just being gradual and happening, and it's all went to the point where it actually had a inquiry about it. So yeah, I don't know what's going to come of it. Probably nothing. But they're all justified saying that they're closing them down because costs and all this sort of stuff. And they don't. There was some other one where I actually saw that it cost $40 per customer to maintain their bank account and have cash available for them. And if they don't use the cash, they're losing money. That was one of the things that they talked about. So yeah, this is just an interesting thing about the way banks are going. So even everyone relies on banks and they're important. They're making them online, and this also adds to fraud and scams associated with like online, because people get scammed so easy online. When you walk into a bank and deposit and withdraw your money, you really are safe in terms of physically doing it, other than getting robbed, right? Which doesn't really happen too much in Australia. But online, doing banking or trying to withdraw money or transfer money is just fraught with danger. Buying and selling anything of any value, literally, it's just I don't even have you just function. It's just so difficult. So yeah, it's very interesting, the landscape. But basically, all the banks are making record profits. They're closing all their branches, moving everything online, and yeah, basically, they're in it for money, but it leaves everyone outside the major cities just stranded. And this is another reason why crypto, specifically Bitcoin, is going to help. But it doesn't help when you can't have on ramps and off ramps for Bitcoin in Australia. Like the more difficult it is to interact with Bitcoin and buy and sell Bitcoin through your bank, then people don't have access to it and they don't even know about it. So it's and it's if they had like a QR code with Bitcoin or Lightning or something like that, they wouldn't need a bank because they could actually transact. They wouldn't even worry about cash because they'd actually be transacting directly with the customer. But in this society here, it's all tied to central banks, and you can't do a transaction without having it being authorized through a bank. And this is the whole purpose of the whole Bitcoin and crypto, and it's crippling businesses, individuals. There's a lot of issues that come up with it. So, and this was happening in the States, I believe, as well.
Yeah, I mean, they always do that. This is how these guys get their bonuses. They slash all these. They take out all these regional places because they don't give a shit about the people that kind of like they've. And these old people, they would have stayed with that bank for probably 30 years or the whole life. They cut them. Yep. They cut them straight away. Look at the balance sheet. Oh, look how much money we made. Then he gets his like $20 million paycheck. That's all. That's yep. all they do. Yeah, it's pretty sad. Just a couple of other things. I know I talk about mining because it's kind of like that used to be the holy grail for making money from home. Just turn on like an ASIC machine and use your residential power, which this is all a myth now. It doesn't happen, but every now and again, Bitmain will bring out a machine that everyone jumps onto, and they just make it a circus because then it's just a matter of who buys it first and whether you get your ROI until the difficulty goes up. But yeah, you can see like this thing was making $3,000 a day. It was literally making $3,000 a day, but no one could get their hands on it because that's what it was making per day before the release. But then you can see here, as they released it, See, look at as the difficulty's going up. Now it's going down. So it was making $3,000 a day. Now that's what people would have done. They would have looked at it and gone, "Oh wow, that's making $3,000 a day. I'll buy it on the next release, which is in a couple of months." And then they release it, and then boom, it drops. Now it's making $200 a day. So I think this machine was like 20 or 30 grand at the time. I can't remember how much it was. Yeah, it was 20 grand. And it was making $3,000 a day. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to think, hey, if I buy this thing now, obviously in 6 days or 7 days, I want to get my ROI back. Well, it doesn't happen that way because everyone's get the same machines at the same time. But look at it. It's still profitable. You're still going to be making your money back in 100 days. And that's still pretty damn good. But obviously it's really, really dicey. You spend 20 grand to, hopefully make $200 a day long enough to make your money back. So that's the game that you're playing. But yeah, I just boggles my mind. And then, they repeat the process and they bring out a new machine and then people like same process happens. The record spinning, right? Same records playing. A couple of other things. The Bitcoin halving. Okay, so it's in 214 days. What's going to happen on the Bitcoin halving, which is next year? Nothing's going to happen. It's just going to be a date, and then people are going to go yay, and probably maybe it might be some movement, but it's not going to be because of the tokenomics and the actual halving itself having an effect in the supply. It's just going to be people buying and selling and speculating. So that's going to happen in 30,873 blocks. We're going to have a Bitcoin halving, which is pretty awesome, in my opinion. So it's going to happen approximately April the 25th, 2024. So pencil that one in. We'll be here anyway, hopefully, and we should be here, Garth. And then, and we'll pencil it in, and it'll just be one of those moments in time, right? Because here's what's going to happen. It just the Bitcoin will halve, so that means that it'll go from 6.25 Bitcoin per 10-minute block to 3.125 Bitcoin per 10-minute block, right? So it's going to basically halve, right? But if you look at this chart here, we started at 50 Bitcoin at 2009, and then it went to 25 Bitcoin. Then in 2016, then it went to 12.25 in 2020, and 2024, right? It's going to go from 6.25 to 3.125. But here's where, look at this. You can see this, right? It's going to go down a hell of a lot. And then the next one, right, in 2028, it's going to go from 3.25 to 1.56. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that in the space of 2010, so what's that, 10 years, 18 years, which is a long time, don't get me wrong, the supply has gone from 50 Bitcoin a block to, it's going to go to 1.56 Bitcoin a block. So you don't have to, and just looking at this graph visually, right? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that that's a massive depreciation. What do you call it? Supply drop. And as they produce the supply, it just gets more and more strangled. But this is where it's going to get ridiculous. 2028 to 2032, this is where it's going to be like, in my opinion, it's going to be $1 million Bitcoin, 0.78, like less than a Bitcoin. 7.78 Bitcoin is going to be produced per block. So obviously this is a long time. It's taken a long time to get to this point, but that's okay because we can accumulate and keep accumulating. Now you don't have to go out there and drop, 100 grand on Bitcoin. What I'm saying is just this thing is going to continue to happen, and this only goes to 2034. Hopefully we'll still be around. I know. Well, hopefully we will be around in 2034, 10 years from now. And then it's going to keep on going down. This graph is not long enough to go down to even further, right? So what I'm saying is just keep on getting your Bitcoin. Okay, if it's only like, $100, $50 there, it all matters because one time at some point in one day, it's going to be worth 100x, and that's going to take a long time. Don't get me wrong. It might happen, 2040, but maybe even 20x within the next decade. So just think of it that way. Whatever $50 you're putting into Bitcoin now, you could potentially turn into $1,000 by next decade. All right, which is, it's only 7 years away. It's not long, right? So that's the way you got to look at it. If you play the long game with this stuff, and I know it's can be aggravating, but yeah, that's the way you got to think of it. I'm going to put $50 in today, and hopefully I can pull out $1,000 in 2030, 2032. That, if you think of it that way and just visualize it that way, then you can go, okay, how much do I need to get? I'm going to need X amount to retire, and then you can base that off what you need to when kind of like when you retire.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is. I just thought we'd revisit Radix. It's been up 7.8% today, and during the week, it's actually gone up about in the last 7 days. It's went up about 20%. So you can see here, this is September. So it's actually had a pretty good run. And yeah, like we have talked about Radix before. So it is moving on up in the rankings. Is ranked at 53 at the moment. And it's because they're developing out their chain and bringing on more and more developers and more, products or websites or apps that are based on Radix. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to hit the top 10. It might be next year or something like that. But it's just one of those ones that I think is going to hit the top 10. So I thought I'd just update you on that.
Yeah, it's up 21% in a week. That's huge. Yeah, I was looking at the chart now.
Considering Bitcoin's not moving, so yeah, it is pretty huge.
Yeah, these lower cap blockchains, they're the ones that really going to make your money on. You're gonna make your bread on those things. So Brown French Frog says, "Hi guys, hope you're having a good weekend." Yeah, mate, we're here. We're still here. We're doing what you do on the weekends. Yeah, still here, mate. Still kicking. That's the main thing, right? As long as we're kicking, we've got a heartbeat. Then
yeah, we're good.
Life's good. My old man always says it's always good 6 feet above ground than 6 feet below. So we're still here, mate.
That's it. Been a while. I mean, there's not much happening, but hey, we'll be here for when stuff does happen. So, and we'll be like saying, "We told you so." Yeah, we told you it was going to hit 1 million. Like where were you?
Yeah, look, and it's going to be a long time before that happens, but
yeah,
it's that's what happens. It's just happens like everything that you do, anything you start, just takes time. I think I saw a quote the other day of The Rock. I think showed him when he was younger, when he was like 21 years old, he had like $7 in his bank account, and now he's got if you look at him some 30 years later or something, he's got like 700 million in his bank account. So yeah, just 30 years. Obviously it takes time. And that's just the nature of the game, unfortunately. But if you look at it, you just got to look at the positives. That's kind of like, well, you don't have a choice. You have to look at the positives because that's all you have. That's all we have. We just got to look at the positive of every day and see what we can do with that. But look, to be honest, there's, apart from the usual stuff that you get emails of updates and stuff, usual shit, FTX and Celsius, but nothing really substantial that's really going to be something to talk about. It's just all noise, in my opinion. It's not positive news, it's just negative news. So I mean, we could get on these live streams and just talk about negative news all the time. It's probably not going to be worth our time to do that, because it's just go and read the usual, just go and read the tabloids on Bitcoin, and then you don't need to listen to us because, So we try not to talk about that sort of stuff unless we have to. But Yeah, pretty much that's about it. I'm just trying to think what else. There was something else, but I can't think of it at the moment. I mean, my missus, she's starting to. I'm helping her start her own business, so which is going to be good for her, and she's going to be doing TikTok. So it's, here in Thailand, it's pretty big. TikTok's pretty big. Um, so yeah, going through that process with her, which is good. So she's going to. I think she's going to enjoy it. She's look. I think she's a bit scared because it's she's to sell on TikTok. You got to like go on camera. You got to do like lives. It's like doing Facebook lives. It's like doing Facebook lives and doing just going on like what we're doing now,
Mm.
right? Like you're just selling whatever you're selling. Um, you're not selling. I mean, I just told her, look, don't worry about it. Just you don't have to sell. All you're doing is just showing the people what it is, and then you talk about
Yeah.
it. So
So just
she's doing
demonstrating.
yeah, demonstrating. She's doing like clothes and stuff. I said to her, all you need to do is to wear the clothes and then talk about how it feels, the fabric, and that's it. You don't have to sell anything. People will buy if they want to. But yeah, I think it's just because it's new to her, and it's just like you know when we do live streams. I know when I started doing live streams, I was very. I remember my first live stream. I was very nervous. So it's just but after you do it, you don't care about
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You don't care. When we've done,
you don't care.
I don't know, like we've done since 2017, maybe. So what's that? 3 plus another 3, at least 6 years we've been doing lives. Plus you doing lives probably before that on Facebook. So yeah, that's a lot of live streams.
Oh yeah, and Facebook doesn't even help me, so that's why I stopped doing them on Facebook. Every now and again, I'll do a Facebook Live, but I used to do them every day, but they don't really exactly help you with the algorithm
Mm.
and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's just like anything, it just takes time, um, and yeah, hopefully she'll start to enjoy that. Well, I think once she starts, sort of turning over stock and making some money, I think then she'll be more confident. But right now, it's
Yeah,
just she's not,
like everything's new, not sure how
yeah,
it'll work. So yeah, just
absolutely.
got to keep going at it. Well, that's cool. That's good news.
Yeah, you just got to. That's a lesson for everyone. You just got to keep moving forward. When you first start something, it's not going to be because there's a lot of doubt there, but you just got to keep on moving forward. If you keep on moving forward, no matter what you do, no matter what it is, then things will work out. Things will start to happen, and you'll see things that you never would have saw if you never did it. All right, guys. Well, yeah, probably have a short one today. Oh, hang on. Is there something else you wanted to
Yeah, we'll
share?
finish up one last thing. I just found something for you, and then we can finish up. This one here, if you can see it, young Chinese are quitting their jobs to become social media influencers amid economic slowdown. So, yeah, this one here, I don't know what she actually does, but she's an influencer. And there we go. Yeah, I think she does vitamins, supplements, stationery, skincare, creams, that sort of stuff. And makes 20 grand a month. So, and now they've got lots of agencies over there that help young people become social media influencers. So that is really interesting. Yeah, so there you go. It's literally a thing over there, and they even have like big companies where they actually have lots of the influencers go to this location, and there's sort of like an influencer farm, really. I don't think there's any photos of it here, but I've seen it before where they pack them in to one location because obviously it's pretty expensive, and they sell what their wares. So yeah, but it makes a big difference because if people like and follow these people, and if whatever they talk about they buy, it's that simple. So yeah, just something interesting.
Yeah, well, here in here in Thailand, especially Asia, it's pretty big. So it's it's all about the media's now they're using like social media influencers. That's how they get their leads, and that's how they get their business. So it's massive. It is massive business here in Southeast Asia. But I'll just show you quickly. I'll show you this. I'll just show you kind of like what sort of money these people are making. Okay, so just get ready to get your mind blown. This one here, she sells jeans. Okay, you can't really see it, but oh, you can. That's a shop.
Mm-hmm.
She's got 13,500 returning customers, and she sold 172,000 sales. All right.
Wow. Yep.
So she does jeans. All she does, that's her there, right? And she sells jeans. Now she's doing this out of her house.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see it because she's off camera at the moment, but you can
Yep.
see all the jeans up there.
Oh, there she is. Yep. Yep.
So she just does these jeans. That's all she sells, jeans.
Right.
And that's a shitload. Now that's a shitload of jeans that she's selling, and she does all this out of her house. But she's done some pretty good volume, but there's others that dwarf her. Now I can't find one at the moment, but saw another one the other day. They sell they sell clothes. They did $2 million, not dollars, in sales.
Wow.
So if you're talking about the volume, especially in countries like Southeast Asia, Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, obviously, Vietnam, they all go on these apps, and mainly it's TikTok, and they all buy all their shit from the apps. And it's massive business. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And so that's what they're doing now. They exactly what you said. They're quitting their jobs, and they're starting like a home business from home, and they just sell some sort of product or service or anything, and they use primarily TikTok because it's got the live stream. That's the key to it, is a live stream. And that's what they're doing here in Thailand and the Philippines, mainly Indonesia, Malaysia. So all of the areas, they're all on TikTok. It's all about TikTok. So yeah, just interesting. I know it's different down in Australia. It's kind of like not really a thing, right?
Yeah, we
not as
don't really
big.
see live sort of selling at the moment. I haven't really seen it.
Yeah, and you
Only
wouldn't know.
only on breakfast shows and stuff. Like
Yeah,
late night.
see, so you can see that it's not that big, but here in Southeast Asia, it's massive. Here's another one. I'll just quickly show you this one. Right, they've got 20,000 returning customers, and they've
Yep.
sold 468,600 sales.
Incredible.
That's probably within a 1 year period, because it's only it doesn't say the actual. Yeah, it doesn't say the actual time that this shop has been open.
Yeah.
But I would say probably within a year. So if you look at that, that's over 1,000 sales a day, 24/7. Holy crap, that's a lot. Anyway, see, this is the sort of stuff you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know this stuff unless you're kind of like living in this area. But you're kind of like, if you're from America, UK, Australia, you don't know you don't even know this shit is happening. It's crazy.
No, because you go to the mall. You go to the mall and you buy your stuff from there, or maybe Amazon or something like that. That's about it.
Yeah, well, that's why these, especially clothing companies, they're in Australia. I mean, I know I did a Google search the other day. There's been a lot of brands, like well-known brands, they've gone bust. I think Roger David, I think they went bust. I'm pretty sure they did. Roger David,
probably.
remember that's like men's clothes shop, and there's been tons of them in Australia that have
Yep.
gone broke because of COVID, and they can't afford to sustain themselves because they got these massive rents, right? So they're all going now online, selling from like their website, or they're selling through social media. That's why these influencers have so much leverage now. They can charge a shitload of money for telling people about the product, because it's all about social media now. So just think about that. If you want to make some extra money, just think about a particular product that you could sell for yourself, sell it on Facebook Live or put it on Facebook Marketplace. And you can actually start generating money by selling something or providing a service or something, and that'll give you extra coin. So then, put into other things. Obviously, here we do Bitcoin, and crypto. So something to think about. Oh, guys.
Cool.
Well, yeah. Have a good weekend. We'll probably catch you guys next weekend. And
Sounds good.
yeah, take care. We'll talk to you then.
All right. See you guys. Bye.
See you guys.